everyone, so it's Mommy Needs a Minute, and I wanted to come on and explain a little bit about how this whole homeschooling process has been going, as we learned some from my previous videos from when the school basically forced us all of us parents to homeschool because it was kind of a requirement due to the plague. So what I'm gonna talk to you guys about today now is probably won't be anywhere near as long as a video as most of my videos have gone lately, which is usually between 10 to 12 minutes to 18 to 20 minutes, depending. And you're all wondering why I'm not focused directly on the screen, it's because I'm in the middle of a sewing competition for a project. So I'm gonna do this and talk to you guys at the same time because as a busy mom, you always have to be multitasking. So, as you've heard me ramble on in my previous videos, I decided that I was going to homeschool the kids my way this year, rather than what the schooling was doing, because as of when summer hit, the schools decided that they weren't going to send things out in the paper anyway. Thank the Lord, because it was ridiculous with the way things were. You could never find work that was specified to your child, or if your child had any actual accommodations in school. It was literally a blanket curriculum, and those are my opinions on it. And you don't have to like them, but those are my opinions. So what I decided to do this year was I decided to homeschool Christopher and Sierra. So Christopher is in grade 7 and Sierra's in grade 4. So I'm going to tell you right now, since the beginning of September, there has definitely been some trying days, and there's been some tears on both ends for as frustrating as it can be. And like most moms or other moms I know directly in my area that are homeschooling their children, it's not an easy task, especially if you have more than one. Because both of them are in two, three, however many kids you have. All of them are in their own different grade levels, unless you're working with twins or kids that were born around the same time. So basically, what I had to decide to do, what was going to be the best course of action, is now by the Canadian curriculum, the thing is that there's only a certain amount of things that they have to do. So like with Sierra, she has to do her math, she has to do her English, her social studies, and I believe it's her history. But now with Christopher, he has 5 subjects. So he has math and English, history, geography, and science. So basically, with their stuff, because Chris has 5 and Sierra has 4, I've also had to adopt the idea of a phys ed teacher, a health class teacher, and an art teacher. As well, which are not part of the normal curriculum, but I figured it's going to be the best way for them to learn other things as well. So the reason why I wanted to do this video now is because we are starting to go into the colder months, and that I figured it'd be a lot easier because our job as the human race is to try to lift each other up and not bring each other down. So if the one way I can do that is by offering other resources that I use for my kids for homeschooling, why not? Considering basically what it is I'm talking about is that I have a Pinterest board that I use to save anything like print off activities, um, outside activities, science experiments, different things like that that wouldn't normally be available in the specific just curriculum books, because there's days where your kids are really not going to want to do anything, um, and it's a struggle to just get them to do it. There was one time when I was trying to get Sierra to do math, and it literally took all day for her to try to do 3 math questions because she just really didn't want to do the math. So what I did was I started a Pinterest board. So then that way, on days that I know it's going to be trying, or on days that I have doctor's appointments or the kids have doctor's appointments, it's going to be a little bit more easier for them to deal with it, right? And they're not going to have as much of a, work to do, and it's not going to be overwhelming. And I at least try to take one day a week where it's pretty laid back and they don't have to worry about trying to struggle through a lot of the normal schoolwork. And I very much limit my time for school for them from 9 o'clock until 2 o'clock is what we do. And then they have their hour lunch still at home. They'll have their snack breaks or whatever like that. So what I've done is that usually on Mondays, which is today, we will do math and English, and they'll both do that. Chris, likely because he's older, he'll get his stuff done sooner than that. But if they get their work done that I've assigned for them that day, that's fine. I let them like be done for the day because, again, I don't want to overwhelm them. It's trying times. Not only alone if somebody was just homeschooling on a normal time before this whole Black Plague thing started. But and then basically what happens is that if either one of them needs some more designated time with me or need to ask more questions, they can do that. But at the same time, they do get tough love. Like no, like they don't get the well, we're just gonna push you through like they do in school sometimes. They definitely do get the well, if it's not right, and I know it's not right, and I know you can do the work, you're gonna erase it and you're gonna do it again. So that is definitely where some frustration has come from. And, neither one of them like it very much, but that's just something that we have to handle. So outside of the book work, like I said, we do kind of like the whole physical activity or exercise or art or health. And when I say health, it's because they're both at the age range that when I was in school, they started teaching you sex education. So basically, with health classes, I start teaching them what is appropriate for their age levels. And then if they have any further questions on what it is that they're being taught, I definitely let them know. I don't shelter any information. I come right out with it. I'm not going to basically have my children asking me questions and then basically have sugar-coated answers. I'll give them legit, proper answers to what questions that they are asking. We have had the conversation about, I'll say, gender linguistics, and most people that know me will understand what I mean when I say that. So they understand the concept of that. They understand the basis of healthy relationships and different things like this and things that they can do. And unfortunately, I don't really have very much of a social aspect for them because I can't. Because of course, because of the Black Plague, no one can really socialize with anybody. But one thing that I thought was suggested, which I thought would be really cool, is that some of the other homeschooling parents that were on my street were planning on getting a group of the homeschooling kids together, just a small group of 5 or 10, and then going to a museum and making it into a museum day. But even still, at this time of year, things are starting to slow down, and that's not necessarily a possibility. So on this Pinterest board, I have put things on there that I think that will be good for the upcoming either season or holiday, or what could be potentially pertaining directly to what it is that I planned for them for the next few weeks. So when I say that, I mean, so I plan on doing a science experiment with them in the next little bit. And it's basically showing them how to break down soap and create new soap, but it's going to be a science experiment because I'm going to get them to document what they actually observe is happening every step of the way. Anything that I mentioned that you guys want more clarification on, please reach out to me through a comment or reach out to me through a DM, especially if you know how to get a hold of me. I also plan on doing a few different things like not going to do volcano things because that's messy, but what science isn't. So I'm also have ideas for doing certain things with them to helping them like, do baking. And because I figure and baking is a huge thing for me. I love baking, but that was how I really learned how to do fractions and stuff because you had to know how much of what together gave you 1 cup or how much together gave you a cup and a half or whatever like this. So it was always one of my favorite things to do. So we're going to do some baking with some measurements so then that way they can definitely take on the whole fraction portion of math, but also be able to bake together and actually have some fun with that. Again, I have things in there, so because we're ending up on November 11th, don't mind my child walking through in the background. As we're coming on to November 11th, I decided to get the kids to write a letter to a soldier to thank them for their service. I have also had them do an assignment for art to tell me what it is that New Remembrance Day means to them, and they had to draw it out and write a definition of what it is and how they feel about it and why they feel it's such an important thing. I usually come up with ideas like this stuff all the time. So again, so as we're coming up to Christmas and different things like that, I have also decided that there will be a few science experiments that we can do. One I think is like, it's called like instant like cold snow. Basically, you drip water onto a plate and it automatically turns into ice. So it's pretty cool science experiment. But like I said, a lot of this stuff is all on my Pinterest board, and I'm more than willing to offer it up to other parents or other persons that are trying to homeschool their children and are looking for some extra free resources. I will post a link to my board in the description. And I am definitely constantly always adding to it, so don't just check it once, because if you do that and come back later, you're more likely going to see lots of new things that are on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to embed that link in there, and I hope this kind of gave you some insight to what it is that's going on right now with us and homeschooling. So if you have any other questions, like I said, just reach out to me in the comments. I'm more than willing to answer any questions that anyone has. I'm kind of happy to be back on the bandwagon, to be getting back into my videos, because, you know, it kind of gives me some level of sanity, which I haven't really had much of lately. So, yeah. So, I will talk to you guys later, and there will probably be another video later on this week. Thanks for the support. Bye for now, guys.